This video is sponsored by Homefield. Since the dawn of time, sports has been divided into two camps: the athletes that play the sport and the fans and the audience that watch them. And for decades, for even centuries in some sports, we've had athletes do some of the most incredible things that a human can do, whether it's on the court, whether it's on the pitch, whether it's on the ice. We have seen so many peaks of great athleticism over the years that we kind of often take it for granted. And sometimes those people are the fans themselves. Because for every great feat of athleticism, every great accomplishment in the sport, you know that there's someone on their couch or someone watching the game being like, yeah, I could do that. And for the longest of times, it was really hard for fans to get a chance to prove themselves. But what if that all changed? What if there is a place where these fans could live out their athletic dreams and go up against some of the best athletes in their sport, historically? Today, I'm talking about pros versus Joes. Yeah, there are a couple of elements of fans being able to try their hand in athletic environments, but those are kind of used for novelty, honestly. The thing that comes to mind for me are the halftime shows. Whether it's picking a fan out of the crowd and giving them a chance to hit a layup, a free throw, or you're able to dunk the ball so well during this halftime show that you're able to get a contract for a pro basketball team. And if you're asking Kofie, when did that happen? That was the plot of Like Mike. And these fan challenges are really popular among many sports. Of course, you have the Can You Kick a Field Goal challenge that has shown up on College Game Day. And when Katie Nolan was on ESPN, she had a segment where she invited fans to try to kick a field goal. And you know how it went, because kicking a field goal is super tough. I don't know if you've ever done it. It's not fun.
Good job!
Now, most of the time during these opportunities, the fan does not win because what they're asked to do is so Herculean. But every so often, you have a fan that's able to make a half-court shot, or a fan that's able to beat Mr. Freeze. And of course, someone has to win the NBA Simon Says game, even though I think that's the toughest challenge of them all. Have you seen that guy operate?
Hands down, faster, hands up, and you're out. You're out, you're out, you're out, you're out, go. Yeah.
If you're new here, welcome in, and if you know me, welcome back. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, supporting me on Patreon, supporting me on Nebula. We almost have 100,000 subscribers on this channel. I really appreciate each and every one of you guys interacting with my videos. It means the most to me. Now, let's continue. Pros vs. Joes was a show that aired on Spike TV from 2006 to 2010. Yes, it got 5 seasons. And the premise was simple. You would have 3 Joes and a team of pros, and you would have multiple rounds where you try to compete against certain pros as a Joe, but you're also competing against the Joes as well, because one of them has to be eliminated. And then for the last round, you do like an obstacle course, a gauntlet, which reminds me of the final level that was in Wipeout. But this show came before. Did this show come before Wipeout? The teams and challenges vary from episode to episode, so if you want me to cover more of these episodes in future videos, feel free to let me know. I respond well to feedback. I'm going to use this video to talk about the pilot because I feel like the first episode of any kind of show or game show or challenge show kind of feels unfiltered and awesome, because as seasons go on, maybe they add stuff, maybe they subtract stuff that wasn't resonating. But Pros vs. Joes, the pilot, was what they originally thought was going to be a masterpiece. This was going to hit no matter what, no notes. That's probably not the entire case, but that's how I like to imagine these kinds of things. So we're going to definitely talk about these challenges and the overall run of show. So let's get started. For this pilot episode, it's the red team of Bill Goldberg, Jim McMahon, Matt Williams, Jerry Rice, and Dennis Rodman, which is a powerhouse first roster, if you ask me. Side note, I looked at some other rosters for other episodes and seasons, and dude, they're all star-studded like this one. It's not like there was a budget for season 1 and then there wasn't for season 2. No, they go all out with getting the stars needed to make this show what it is. One thing I will also say is that throughout this entire episode, you're gonna have that kind of witty banter between pros versus Joes.
William!
Hope you brought your cup.
It reminds me when you play a fighting game and the level's about to load and then your character says something witty before the match starts. It's that level of banter.
Doctor?
Captain.
Just need a priest and we can walk into a bar.
It doesn't feel completely canned, but a lot of it feels like it feels like the producers are like, you guys say something cool here in 3, 2, 1. Like that, it sounds like that often. And seeing what I write in parentheses for my scripts, I can relate. After the introduction of the pros, you go to meeting the Joes. And the first Joe in this episode is a guy named Patrick, a postal worker from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Patrick Alston, straight out of Raleigh, North Carolina, 210, 5'10".
As soon as I heard he's from Raleigh, North Carolina, all I asked was that he just not make the city look bad, just for my sake.
Rain, sleet, snow, I'm out there delivering that mail. But in my heart, I wanted to be out on that field, so I'm ready.
So then you have a dietitian named Tim, and then the third guy is someone named Josh, who is 5'9", 160. And you know how I know that? Because he tells me.
I'm Josh Len from San Francisco, California. 5'9", 160.
160 pounds?
Yep.
Matt Williams' calves weigh 160 pounds.
Before I continue, I also need to say that all the pros are retired. So if that was a question you had, being like, how is this playing field even going to be a little bit level? More as level as it can be, that's why. These guys are all retired. The first challenge is, can you guard Jerry Rice?
I guarantee you, you're not gonna cover me.
Okay, we are cooked.
Now, Jerry Rice is widely considered the greatest wide receiver of all time, and he's 44 years old here. So yeah, maybe you're thinking, hey, he's 44 years old. He's out of the NFL. Maybe these Joes have a chance. No, they don't. But before I forget, each of the Joes have their own audition tape, which the pros then get to watch and make fun of. And let me tell you right now, Patrick's tape doesn't look that good. I'm gonna be so for real.
Damn, I'm scared.
And it's hard to explain to those that weren't in the late 2000s, but this is the most of the times thing in the video. I have to say it. Oh, dude, what were we on, man? All right, where was I? Oh yeah, the Joes are about to get smoked by Jerry Rice without hesitation.
I'm ready, babe. You ain't ready.
I ain't even gonna say what I'm gonna do.
Whatever you want to do, babe.
You really want to do this?
So the first time's from the 40, the second time's from the 20, and then the next one's a goal line fade. And it doesn't matter where on the field, actually, Jerry Rice is going to smoke these guys. Like, what are you talking about? You got Jerry Rice catching a pass from Jim McMahon in one-on-one coverage. You're going to cook. Sorry, you're going to get cooked if you're a Joe. Why am I talking about it like whatever.
Jerry Rice with the catch and the turnaround.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
Jerry Rice does this absolutely devious corner route that cooks Patrick, and I from then on I knew that Patrick wasn't the favorite for this entire show. This is when I knew. This is when I knew, and he's the first one to go. So after embarrassing Patrick thoroughly, Jerry Rice starts talking to the other two Joes, and they look like they do not want to be a part of this. And this might be hilarious editing, or this might be in real time, but this looks like two people that are regretting their decisions.
Who's the next victim? Tom? Josh?
I will say here, however, that the prize for winning this episode is $20,000. So I think that's a great trade-off. Josh goes next, and he only needs one stop to have a chance to win this challenge. Does he get it?
Oh. Slamming! Land to the turf. Ooh. With the push, Jerry. Good show! Charlie, good show!
What disadvantage to Josh is that there's no way for his stature to tackle Jerry Rice. No, Josh is the most disadvantaged in this challenge out of the three of them. Now, Tom goes next, and this is extremely funny for me because the first two go the same way, right? They go the same way the first 2 tries. The last try, though,
There's the fade. Cortez. Oh, batting it down.
I can't tell if this is a bad ball by Jim McMahon or not. And it feels like maybe the producers realized here that if they didn't give one of these Joes a bone, that they would be out on that field the entire night. This challenge makes it feel it's like, oh, that's Jerry Rice. Maybe we aimed a little bit too high on this one. This is what it feels like. And the cool thing about this show is that win or lose, at the end of the day, like the pros are good sports about it if they win or lose, and so are the Joes.
No, he just got lucky. He made a great play. I take my hat off to him. I got to give him his props. But, you know, I don't like losing.
There's a fun mix of wholesome and trash talk that just the balance always seems to teeter and never really be in the middle. It always just feels like one way and then it just like flips to the other. I like it. Timeout, 60 seconds. This video is sponsored by Homefield. Homefield has premium vintage apparel for over 180 colleges, including your favorite teams. They have t-shirts and hoodies, bomber jackets, softball pullovers, and so much more. Homefield takes the vintage logos from all of these schools and makes masterpieces with each collection. Each piece really peers into the school's history through the unique logos and mascots and iconic moments. As I make this video right now, Homefield is currently in their summer school era. They chose 10 different schools and they're giving them 8 new hats each. During this part, you can see that I've been wearing a bit of the Purdue collection, the Oklahoma collection, and the Auburn collection. It's best to keep tabs on Homefield because you never know when your school is in store for something new. Whatever your college, whatever your style, Homefield definitely has something for you. Surprise that biggest fan you know with a thoughtful gift, or treat yourself to something that would help you root for your favorite team when the season arrives. Homefield has it all. I've been wearing Homefield for years now, and it's hands down some of my favorite clothing. So what are you waiting for? Check out their website and don't forget to use my code Kofie15 for 15% off of your first purchase. That's Kofie15 for 15% off your first purchase at Homefield. Thank you so much to Homefield for sponsoring this video, and thank you guys so much for checking out these sponsors. It really helps out the channel, short term and long term. The next challenge is basketball, so you have Dennis Rodman. Now, you wouldn't have these Joes try to get a rebound against Dennis Rodman, right? Right? Well, not right now. You see, this one's actually a shooting challenge. To even the playing field, you have Dennis Rodman shooting on a treadmill for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. And whoever scores the most baskets wins. Now, here's the thing. For the Joes, you don't have to beat the pros. You just have to beat the other Joes. So while the pros aren't here to win $20,000, I think there's also just the added benefit for a Joe if they do beat a pro, because that bragging rights in their mind might be worth the same. Give me the 20 grand though. In this round, Dennis Rodman scores 32 points from the treadmill. Now, Dennis Rodman wasn't known as a good outside shooter, but here's the thing. If you've never seen professional basketball players just shoot around, even the worst shooters in the NBA look amazing in a shoot around, you know? They're not gonna miss. They rarely miss. So while it might seem like the treadmill was overkill for this round, it was necessary, because I think that these producers had a really interesting time trying to level out these challenges, and I think a treadmill is a good idea. But then I realized that the Joes also have to be on the treadmill, and this does not go well for Patrick, who does so bad that they speed run his round.
Patrick, you came nowhere near Dennis Rodman's score of 32 points.
Next up is Tom, and Tom tries this bank shot method that it's working better than whatever Patrick was doing, but it just pissed me off visually. I'm sorry, man. It just pissed me off visually. It looks like he's trying to win a carnival game at the fair, but the rims are oval. So that's like the only way he could score. It makes me upset. Also, I'm not gonna lie, Tom's jump shot form pissed me off. It made me upset. And he beats Patrick, doesn't beat Rodman though. So it's all up to Josh. You can tell from Josh's first shot that he's played a little bit of basketball before, and he probably has a chance to beat Tom with ease because he's not doing the bank shot method. And Josh looks like he can shoot. Like, the jump shot for him is really good, actually. As the round goes on, it's getting really apparent that Josh might be able to beat Tom, but he's also getting close to Dennis Rodman.
He's got it! Oh, Glenn finishing with 34 points.
Josh beats Dennis Rodman and earns the vault play of the day. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. For those of you that don't know, vault was a soda that existed back then. That's all I can really, that's all I can really say about it. I can't even tell you if it was good or not, because I don't remember having it ever. I probably wasn't allowed to have it, honestly. I can buy that. The next challenge is my favorite one because it's the one where they pick a sport that none of the pros are good at, or known for, I should say. The next challenge is a golf challenge where you have to hit 210 yards and try to get as close to the pin as possible against a pro of your choosing. For those of you that need a reference, a lot of top golf locations are either 215 yards to 250 yards. So you have to launch this ball and be kind of accurate also. So Tom picks Goldberg. Patrick picks Jim McMahon.
They're gonna pick Jim.
Patrick, you're going home, baby.
What does he know?
Which means that Josh goes against Matt Williams. So for this golf challenge, you can't pick the other two athletes that have gone before. So Jerry Rice and Dennis Rodman were not available for this one. Now, an interesting thing about this challenge is that you only get 2 attempts. So if you're a pro and you mess up, you just mess up. And Matt Williams goes first, and he doesn't hit it that well.
First shot. Low.
Oh. Sorry, Matt. That's all right, babe.
But then the second attempt, he just understands it.
Look at that close shot from Matt Williams. Wow. Hit.
And he lands it only 4 feet away from the pin, which lends me to my next question. I know that Matt Williams played baseball. It feels like he's kind of played golf before because that's a crazy shot, especially on just your second try. I feel like these producers didn't understand how hard this challenge would be because Josh does not get anywhere close.
Oh. Hits it well, but slices it into the bleachers.
And next up is Goldberg, and if you think that Matt Williams was good at golf,
Once again, straight down the middle. Hit it again.
they kind of buried this lead here. I feel like they should have asked the pros if they're good at golf or not, because these are crazy shots that I'm seeing right now. Yeah, this challenge feels a little unfair because all the pros look like they have played golf at some point in their lives, while all of the Joes do not. And guess which one's the worst out of them?
Shot by Alston. Not good. There it is.
And to be fair, Patrick has never picked up a golf club, and he only gets 2 tries. So how did we think this was gonna go? Anyway, with that being said, Josh and Tom move on to the final round, which is a obstacle course gauntlet. The first part of the gauntlet is you're supposed to have 5 outs. So a former Major League pro is hitting the ball as hard as he possibly can at these players, and hopefully they can field it, and they got to make the throw to first. Now for the ground ball part, it feels like sometimes they waver on whether it should be an out or not because they're trying to do some imaginary time, because Matt Williams is not trying to run these hits out. So you kind of just have to make a little bit of an educated guess here. And this is a time trial, so every second matters. The second part of the trial is that you have to catch 10 footballs from the jug machine while Jerry Rice is also doing it. So whatever the difference between Jerry Rice finishing and you finishing is your added time for that round. And if I'm skipping ahead, it's because the 2 finalists are pretty close up until this point. They're only 3 seconds apart. The next round is you have to try to catch a rebound off of Dennis Rodman. Also, the longest time you can go is a minute. So after a minute, if you can't do it, that's just your time. And for this round, it basically takes them both the 1 minute limit to get a rebound off of Dennis Rodman. And that's only because of like a really lucky bounce. but only one of them benefited it. But after 3 rounds, these guys are tied. The next trial that they have to do is that they have to try for a minute to put Goldberg on his back. Guess how that goes.
Bill Goldberg pulling Len down to the canvas.
The other thing about all these trials in overtime is that when you finish or don't finish a trial, you still have to run and get the game ball, because that's what stops the time. So that kind of signifies when they're actually done. So I guess that's how that matters, because, and I think that this is a good idea, because they had to account for some of these trials not being finished. Like there's no way you're gonna wrestle Goldberg and put him on his back. I don't know why. All right. Anyway, the last one is a quarterback throwing with Jim McMahon.
Targets, once he does, his time will set the bar.
So Josh goes through and he nails it in about 1 minute and 50 seconds. He had to throw a ball through like multiple targets, and it all comes down to Tom to see if he can actually do it. But
On his first throw to the fade target. That's good for Josh Len.
dude, Tom is wiped. Tom is wiped, and I totally understand it, because they have been going through a gauntlet of physical activity, and the stamina part through all of this doesn't really get spoken about, but the overtime challenge is pretty grueling. I mean, you're going up against retired pro athletes in certain aspects of their game. It's not easy. So yeah, Josh wins the first ever episode of Pros vs. Joes, and that's how the episode ends. I mean, it's not like a doubleheader or whatnot, but I do think that there were some hits and misses in this episode. The golf challenge was so funny, because it was just like, I don't know if they expected these pros to be so good at golf. The football challenge was, while interesting, they were going to be there all day if they didn't. I feel like they intentionally missed that last challenge for Tom, but hey, that's just me. But again, I love this show, and I would love to talk about more episodes of Pros vs. Joes with y'all. And if you guys like this, feel free to let me know. Love you guys. Bye.